Hello, and thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tech Exec podcast. Yes, we're still at war. I think it's 17 days since the slaughter, and everything feels connected. This is somewhat similar, yet worse than what we felt when COVID started and we were locked at home. Now it feels like a huge slog. However, still being optimistic, and waiting to see what happens in the upcoming days as we know things are going to escalate. I can only hope that things will end sooner. Perhaps the people in Gaza will rise up against Hamas, and Hamas will then finally surrender, give us back our people, and the area could actually benefit from the concept of peace, but we'll see. Till then, again, another short episode, mostly for my sake. I'm hoping you guys get some benefit out of this as well. And I want to talk about structure. This is something that has been coming up in my conversations with my clients. And just as when COVID started and we started going into hybrid or fully remote, and people felt like, what day is it? We're having the same right here. And this is actually something that since COVID, I've been talking to my clients about when it comes to hybrid teams in general, when it comes to remote companies. And I think it's very important for us to realize that structure is extremely important when it comes to helping people have a productive routine in their work lives when they don't get to the office daily. Now, I know that there are those people who actually need the maximal amount of flexibility. They work random hours and still they deliver like crazy. If you have those, fine, but let's accept it. Those are the exception. The vast majority of people I see work a somewhat regular schedule. They need it. And therefore, we as leaders need to consciously think how we structure our company rhythm in a way that helps them be productive and in a way that keeps them close. So, therefore, you need to rethink, and I've talked in the past about the calendar reset and everything, but this is not for you personally, but at the organizational level. I want you to think, how many touch points are people getting with their teams, with the entire organization, with the company regularly? When is that happening? Are they always just passive because the bigger forums are mostly broadcast, someone speaks and everyone listens? Or are you creating areas where people can actually talk and socialize? This was extremely important in COVID. It's extremely important now here in Israel. And in general, I do think it's important for remote/hybrid companies to make sure that the people who are not always co-located become real teams, actually understand one another and get an answer for our basic human need of socialization, because otherwise you're not going to be able to perform at your best. We need this sort of friction, this form of rubbing elbows with others in order to hone our creativity. Next, as you're thinking about this, I want you to consider, should you have shorter dailies, for example? Should you replace some of them with just a written update on Slack? And I don't care about that. I'm not religious about the daily being a live meeting. I am religious about making sure that you have live touch points with people. No matter how good they think they are, talking to someone at least once a day really helps you crystallize what it is you're doing. And unless they're one of the few who are really good at written communication, speaking about it will really help them. So you need to ensure that your leaders in the company actually consciously think about this and shape the way their organization looks and works so that the structure helps people. We have structure in order to bolster our productivity and in order to help people just be well in our company. One tool I want to give a shout out to, because I saw it and it looks interesting for something like this, is Roam. Not Roam Research, but a different tool called Roam that's for creating a virtual sort of workspace where people have their offices, cubicles, conference rooms, whatever, and you can see where everyone's at. You can decide to knock on their door virtually and start talking. It makes these sorts of interactions a lot easier. And I think also makes it a lot nicer compared to just Slack when you don't know if someone's available or not, if someone's in a meeting or not. And you can also have this form of an open meeting. So someone that has the time can just look at the floor plan, see that there's a meeting in a virtual conference room that is interesting, even if it's not something they were invited to, unless this happens in a closed, in air quotes, locked room, they can just hop in and listen. And I think this is great for transparency, for visibility, and for helping people remain connected. So think about things like this tool and others in order to enable people to be more productive, work together, and create a structure even during complete chaos like we're going through right now here in Israel. So you can see how your people can be I'm not going to say at their top, because I think most of us are not at our top right now. We have too much cognitive load, but at least in a way that makes sure that the company is going to stay alive, because, show must go on. And also in a way that helps us not just remain stuck doom scrolling all day long. I do believe that this is very important in order to maintain our own mental health. That's it for this week. I'm gonna remind you that I have a weekly newsletter for the past 2 weeks since the crap storm has started. It doesn't have the regular article, which I've been sending for like 5 years in a row, and Hamas made it stop. I'm hoping to get back to it this week. However, even if I don't, I'm sharing a bunch of very, very concise information about what's happening here in Israel, which I think you're going to like. So do check it out. The link is in the show notes. Thank you. I'll be here next week.